What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us on another
Oh, what's going
Monday.
on?
Yeah, it's a Monday, right? Yikes! Coming up here on the holidays quickly in the new year. So yeah, thank you for taking some time out of your day and joining us. I have with me, as always, Trevor Blaze. Trevor, how's it going?
What's up? It's going pretty well. Just I it's so funny. I thought about this morning. Like I look forward to my weekends because I'm gonna catch up on my rest and
Oh
and
yeah,
sleep really good.
yeah.
And like and so I have like really good sleeps on Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and then Sunday I stay up way too late and I wake up like so groggy again on Monday. I'm like, what the hell was that for?
Yeah,
Now I'm back to square one.
I feel like that's the
Uh,
story of my life is just like constantly trying to work in sleep somewhere. That's like
yeah, it's a struggle,
it
man.
really is. Not enough
How about you?
time. I'm doing good, doing pretty well, getting ready for some vacation. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, doing pretty good. Just trying to wrap up some things for the end of the year, right? Like it's the end of the year, you want to end the year with all your I's dotted and your T's crossed and figure out what 2021 has in store for you, both personally and like throughout your career and all that fun jazz. So a lot of thinking going on, a lot of prepping, a lot of getting myself motivated for what I have to do. But all in all, really good. No complaints. I mean, the only other complaint is that I'm trapped inside still, but that seems like that's going to come to an end soon as well. So it's just like, yay, all around. So yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know how soon. I'm still being cautiously optimistic about everything.
Yeah.
I assume you're referring to the shipments of the vaccine going out.
Well, yeah, for sure. It will still be months before,
Yeah.
that it's distributed to a population at large, at least in the U.S. And yeah, so I think that yeah, cautiously optimistic, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Like there's a vaccine. It's been shown throughout clinical trials to work, and so like yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, as far as when I get it, not sure. Pixel Future, thank you for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
follow. Dove in here real quick, but yeah. Uh,
Hey, and Scott,
yeah.
thank you for the compliment. Yeah, I agree. The layout is awesome. We got good camera quality now and
Oh yeah. We're making moves.
feeling good.
Making moves, Scott. Just wait until the new year when Blades has like still waiting on that multi mount, which is such a shame. Like, ugh, this must be the worst. But it still looks so dope. I like this camera angle. I'm telling you, you got to do
Yeah, it's all right.
more gym moments where you just kind of look up at the camera. Like where he just like looks at the camera, like, can you believe this? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a new thing. I gotta get used to it,
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. It's like totally out of your line of sight, so it's like a real effort. I see some
Mhm.
folks who have it at like drastic angles or like even behind them some, and I'm like, how do you do that? Like, and they'll even be like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Shoot!" Like I would never be able to do that.
There's one of my favorite streamers. He's like a melee player, and he has like three or four different cameras in different locations, and
Yeah,
like some are like behind his monitor and stuff. And
yeah,
so, what his thing is like when he like destroys somebody in the game,
yeah.
he'll just like switch to one of the other cameras and like look behind his monitor at the camera. Like
That's amazing. That's what I'm
it's
talking
pretty
about.
pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we're here for. So now I'm thinking maybe what you really need is not just a multi mount, but a whole other camera. So you too
Yeah,
can switch
exactly.
camera views and be like, maybe I need to do this. We're just slacking.
Dude, I want to know what his setup looks like.
For
You know,
serious. Yeah. I don't
he's probably got some serious mounting going
Yo,
on.
I don't even have enough. Yeah, we do. Yeah, the cutaway clip is where it's at. Yeah. I don't even have enough like ports. Like I would need like a whole nother USB hub to support more cameras,
Yeah,
and like I would need a bigger power strip. Like I'm at scale right now. Like I cannot add any more devices to my setup currently.
yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then my next thing on my list is I want to get one of those like vertical docks for your laptop that you just like put it in, because right now
Mm.
it doesn't take up a ton of room, but it is laying on my desk, and as such, I mean, it is using up like I don't know, a good space that
It's a
corner.
laptop's worth of
A
space. Yeah.
laptop's worth of space. You got it. So that's one thing I've been looking
What
at.
I would recommend,
Yeah,
if you use the screen on your
I
laptop,
don't.
um, oh, you don't? Okay, then you're all good. Get the vertical one.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was going to use the
No, so-
screen, I thought about doing that, but I would have to really adjust my layout, and I don't think I want that much adjustment going on. Like, because I got two 27-inch monitors. Like, where do you even put the
Oh,
laptop?
okay. Yeah. Forget
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. I could go wider with them, but then I'm like this, like, all the time, you know? Yeah, I don't like that. It's not my jam. I'm more of like a blueberry or
You
raspberry.
got two 27s? Yeah.
Yeah, I got.
Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. I like this setup though. This is like the ideal setup for me, the two 27s. I had one 34-inch in my laptop monitor, and it was just weird. I had not enough space on one monitor and too much on the other. And I just kept finding
Yeah.
myself in situations where like I would need to crop off part of the monitor or try to fit something onto my laptop
I
screen.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I just share the screen. They're all like, 16:9 ratio. So it's just like so easy for screen sharing and streaming and stuff. So yeah. Yeah, yo. It's been a long journey to get here. I think I'm pretty much done.
Living the dream.
Yeah, living the dream. I think I'm pretty much done. Although I'm starting to think I might need a freaking dedicated streaming computer.
Oh wow. It's got to that point, eh?
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Like right now things are super smooth, but like yeah, when I'm trying to run like Xcode or like a simulator or like a heavy VS Code project, it's starting to show like things start slowing down significantly. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think what I would do is still use the Mac for development and then just stream from the like a Windows PC and just pipe everything like through to the Windows PC.
Oh wow.
Like people do that. I don't know how, but they do.
Yeah.
They,
I'm sure they do.
yeah, they do. But that's like a whole
That's
can of worms
intense.
I am not ready to open right now. That's like a Q2 2021 type problem, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So with that, should we talk about some GraphQL stuff? What do you think?
Let's get into
Yeah.
it. Yeah, let's see what's new in the world of GraphQL this
Yeah,
week.
what's cracking? What's pop-a-locking? All right. So first thing we've got, copying the link address now, and I'm gonna do myself a service. Oh my gosh, and drop it in chat first. We've got another article from the folks at Netflix. They have been doing some really cool stuff. And let's go take a look at what that cool stuff is. So they've been doing a lot of work recently around their federated architecture. For anyone who might not be familiar, federated architectures are when you take multiple GraphQL services with all with like their own managed graph and backing services that they need, and you tie them together through a GraphQL API gateway. And you do this with a schema-first approach. So you define the connections in the schemas with directives. In the Apollo, the API gateway, you point it at those services, and then it will query plan for you and decide like how to run these queries across multiple GraphQL APIs. But the cool thing is at the end of the day, what's exposed is just a single graph to your downstream clients. So it's a really cool architecture that allows for some horizontal and vertical scaling where necessary in a large GraphQL or even a smaller GraphQL system while still providing a lot of flexibility and freedom. So that's kind of my 2-second or really 15-second elevator pitch on Federation. So now what this series is, they did a previous post actually and this QCon talk. So let me copy the link to this too. But yeah, so what they've done is they started writing this series, and in the first one they kind of talk about how they got to Federation as a whole and what they've architected. Actually, here it is right there. So they've implemented the core infrastructure necessary for federated GraphQL, and that's what they talked about. Here they get a little bit more into some stuff, which is really interesting, like developer education and experience. This was such a cool part to read as someone who is pretty concerned with DX and DevRel myself, to see how they looped in their own DevRel and developer experience and education teams to help them make this transition at Netflix. And I thought that was really cool because it took developer experience and turned it inside, right? Like normally what developer experience teams do is very outward focused and on the community. But here they took all that skill set and said, well, let's apply it to our internal teams as well. So kudos to you, Netflix. Awesome way to make use of your dev experience and DevRel teams.
I like that.
Yeah, I love it. It was super cool to read. So then they got into schema governance, which is like a really big piece of the picture as well. And why is this important? So yeah, cool. We're in this kind of like world where, you know, each service can do their own thing. You can build out your own part of the graph, but like you still have to deal with things like schemas need, in order for types to work, all names you need to be globally unique. So like you have to come up with like a pattern for like how you're going to name things consistently, how you plan to structure your queries and maybe make those more discoverable. Are you going to use inputs for mutations? Will you handle errors as data or like, you know, like or just more like traditional codes and things like that? Like, you know, what is the schema rules and like regulations essentially. So it's really cool how they go through the schema design workflow and how they handle governance. And they even have like their own API, kind of like a registry. Studio, actually, Apollo Studio offers a graph registry. And so what they're seeing here, you can, you know, they've built this for themselves for Netflix, but you can also take advantage of Studio's option for this as well. So if we also look a little bit further down, they go into my next favorite topic, which often gets overlooked when talking about GraphQL in general, which is observability. So API, like, right, like monitoring, API metrics and monitoring, super important. Need to know what's going on in your graph. So they break down how they handle observability for federated schemas here. It's a very cool overview, just kind of giving you that insight into like, well, how does like Netflix deal with this stuff, you know? Look at this, look at this open tracing they got. This tracing is so good.
And
so
this is the idea that this is all like internal tools that they built?
Yeah, this is an internal tools that they built. So if we were to crack open Studio and look at that, you can get the same style of tracing all the way through your resolvers and through your stack for managed federated graphs in Apollo. So like you don't have to build this all yourself. I actually, you know, recommend not building it yourself whenever you can get away from building it yourself. This is some very deep, complicated tooling that they are creating here. But you know, when you're Netflix, you look at, you know, their history. They create a lot of their own tooling, and rightfully so. You know, it's hard to figure out where you can go with something third party and when you need to build your own. My recommendation is always push the work off to somebody else, like a new thing you're going to have to maintain and understand and teach. Like if you can offload that work, do it whenever you can.
Yeah, I mean, I would expand on that and just say like you always want to consider like playing to your own strengths. Yes. Like if is you spending X number of hours working on some unrelated thing to your core strengths really a good use of your time, or would it be better to spend that time working on something that you are like an expert at? If you're a UI expert, you don't want to be spending 8 hours working on a back end. You want to pull in you know, somebody who is specialized at that, and on top of that, it comes down to like your enjoyment. Now those rules don't really apply for huge organizations like Netflix and Facebook and Google and stuff, where they have so many engineers, they can just be like, they can throw engineers at the problem, and they don't need to think about that as critically, I guess. I'm sure some thinking definitely goes down there, but but yeah, if you're starting out, boy, it's a big help to use the pre-baked solution a lot of the times.
Absolutely. And just like again to going back to your point about like having engineers on staff. Yeah, they have the engineers to, instead of using a tool that might cover 95% of, what they're really after, they can build the tool that covers their use case 100% of the way, easier to integrate with their own stuff. And I get it. Like, yeah, if you have the bandwidth, go for it. But I don't know, like in a lot of cases I still find companies build things that they don't need to.
Oh yeah.
But but like we don't have the inside knowledge. We don't know how the decisions, were made here, or the reasons for it. They might have hit issues with Apollo. Maybe they tried Apollo and they hit an issue with it, something that they couldn't do that they needed to do.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe they didn't even know Studio existed and they built
Yeah.
it. Like all
And
of these are possible.
Yeah, it's true. It's also funny that the app that they're using GraphQL on at Netflix is called Studio as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It's all
Yeah.
Studio.
It's all Studio all the way down. It's just Studios all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah, so the next thing they cover is securing your graph. I mean, I don't think we need to go too deep into how important that is, but it gets weird and wonky in a federated graph, and especially with different ownership and permission models, maybe even authentication methods. And they talk a lot about that in this post, which is like there's multiple authorization offerings within Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And if certain services require different type of authorization and authentication, that could be, quite a challenging thing to build. But I really like how they did it, and how they talk about it. They use like custom directive called secured to kind of handle most of that. And this looks like a link. So I'm going to go to this.
All
Oh,
right.
geez. Okay. So it's something within Spring. And I guess they've adopted this for GraphQL. So that's really cool. And yeah, so future of authorization, they're kind of trying to get to like an overarching system, kind of like we need a new protocol to organize the other 14 protocols, and then it's like we have 15 different protocols for.
Yikes.
Have you seen that XKCD comic?
No.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? We have all these different protocols, like 14 different protocols. What we need is one protocol to kind of like organize it all and make it easier to use them. And then they're in a meeting later and it's like, we have 15 different protocols. What we really need is one protocol.
It's one protocol. Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's protocol, but point goes across everything.
Conventions.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
the same thing.
Exactly. It's evergreen. Yeah. Okay, so what else? Yeah, so they're gonna kind of standardize on authorization. Makes sense. Architecting for failure. This is almost something you never hear folks talk about when they are doing this. So we just did a awesome panel at oh, you found the comic, hell yes. This awesome panel at GraphQL Galaxy, which was last week, on GraphQL Durability. So like your site reliability stuff, like how to make sure, how to architect for failure, how to test your API and load test it, and how to like just make sure that how to observe what's going on within your API, how to deal with sudden spikes in traffic, all those things that you need to deal with in a given like gateway or API experience. And so it's cool to see them talking about architecting for failure. Mm-hmm. I just love it. It's a really good post. They have a lot of closing thoughts on here. It gives a really good wrap up. If you're not following Tejas, he's been talking a lot about this. He's at Tejas26 on the Twitters. So definitely reach out. Sorry, Tejas26 on Twitch, whoever you are, you just got added. I don't think it matters, like, unless they're in the chat, though, right? It's just like.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't highlight them unless they're in there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that is the first item on our list. We kind of went a little into depth about that article because I feel like they cover so many good things that it made sense to kind of go over it in a little bit of detail. Fantastic articles. The first one is definitely worth a read as well. If you're wanting to kind of understand, how they got to Federation in the first place. Yeah. Let's see, what else we got? We got something here that is new to me anyway. So let me load this up here in the chat, drop the linky link. It's a new database. It looks like graphic. So we're going to go check this out, and I'll flip us back over here. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, so we've
So I stumbled upon this graphic, which is a graph database written in Go. I don't know much about it, but it looks pretty interesting. I found out about it from a Reddit post in the GraphQL subreddit, and just announcing that GraphicDB is in beta, and I don't know if there's any gophers in chat, but
go for gophers.
If so, maybe this is interesting to you,
or maybe not. Either way,
or maybe not.
It's here, so deal with it.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Don't really know much about this or have any other details, but I thought it might be interesting to share some new developments.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, and so it's cool. Like I'm noticing they support. So here we go. GraphQL documentation. So yeah, so it would seem that well, this is just like you. Yeah, it looks like you query for your data using GraphQL. So we're starting to see an emergence of GraphQL, the query language being used outside of, oh, what's up, Michael Graham? Yeah, actually, I'm sure you're very interested in this, of being used outside of APIs, right? We're starting to see the flexibility and declarative nature of GraphQL's query syntax, its DSL, that is being adopted other places. Yeah, so it's really cool to see this. I'm curious to see where else we'll start to see it appear.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it makes sense for databases in a lot of ways.
Yeah, there's some cool examples here, like creating a document. It's sort of like you create these sort of ephemeral documents, MongoDB style or Firebase style, if you're familiar with those.
Yeah.
Those technologies, and you're using GraphQL as a way of directly communicating with the database.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. This is a similar model to dgraph, right?
Yep. dgraph, and Michael Graham, who's in chat, I believe, has just released something that allows you to do this with Neo4j as well. So it's like it's definitely starting to see an emergence of this. Michael, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if that's like fully released yet, but I know that it's like definitely something you've been working on hardcore. It's really cool stuff. But yeah, I love seeing this emergence, and it also supports gRPC, which I noticed, which is really cool. It's also hot right now, hot little potato.
Check out the link I posted in chat there, Kurt,
here we go.
If you could.
It's
like a practical example of how you might interact with Graphic.
Oh, this is cool. Yeah, here we go.
So, oh wait.
Here, doc schema. That link took me to create a different place. Here we go. Create a document. Interesting.
Yeah, so you could just like give it a type, I guess, and any random hash of attributes, and then it spits you back your newly created data.
Yeah, this is really wild to see.
Interesting stuff.
Yes. Here we go. So link just got dropped in chat by Michael. So here we go. Neo4j GraphQL JS. So yeah, this is going to convert. It's I guess slightly different in the sense that it's GraphQL to Cypher library, but same thing. It allows you to query your database through GraphQL, which I think is what we're after here, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And so yeah, here we go. So this is really cool. So now you can just write these queries and it's going to return you your graph data from your graph database, which is freaking dope.
Neat.
Yeah, I love it. It's an emerging field, and like actually Michael and I have been talking about this a lot, and I talk about it all the time. It's just like like the whole world is like really a graph, and so it makes a lot of sense that we'd be very, um, I don't know, like I guess like amenable, I think is the word I'm looking for, but like very okay with querying for multiple different data types and attributes with GraphQL. Like not just
Hmm.
APIs. Like I think any time where you're getting data from anywhere or putting data to somewhere, it's a nice API. Um, I like it just yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting to see like the the options expand for any given developer, like for how you want to work with your data. Generally speaking, from like from the perspective of like layers put on top of existing
Yeah.
databases, or entirely new database models being dreamt up that align with um, different strategies and stuff. I think it's really interesting to see like this proliferation of options, which ultimately is good. I think that having options, having competition in this space is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, and so Michael in chat was saying like to see GraphQL APIs from like wearables, headsets, fitness tech, like yeah, like anything. Like imagine, because you could tie all these graphs together, and it's just like that is it. That's what I'm after. I'm after everything having a graph and then all
Yeah.
of those graphs being composed. And if you have the right permissions, you should be able to traverse through this data. Like one graph is like an example of this, right? Like I would like to be able to, I don't know, correlate like data from a Neurosity headset, right? Which like measures your brain waves. Actually, they have an app for this, but it's just an example. Michael showed me this, but like it can suggest Spotify songs based on your current mood, like off your brain waves.
Wow.
Yeah, but I would like those to be connected together from a GraphQL API perspective, or maybe it could do the same. I could switch that to YouTube videos, and based on this data, I want to look
Hmm.
at like different YouTube videos. But anyway, long story short, yeah, that's pretty freaking dope, and I'm excited to see a world in which the idea of one graph is taken to its maximum.
Dude, that's a I didn't know that was a thing. Neurosity headsets. That's like a strange little window into the future.
Yeah,
Like imagine Apple AirPods start measuring your brain waves. I guess Apple's not, they're not as like menacing with the whole advertising thing. I was thinking like if somehow Facebook knew what your like how to read on your brain waves, it would
yeah,
be a scary like uh really privacy, what do you call it, infringing
infringe.
experience.
Yes, it
Yeah.
absolutely it can be. Right, and it's like there's always the double-edged sword of data privacy, and then like having things be personalized because it's very hard to personalize anything without something to reference. But personalization is always taken to the extreme of consumerism, and I think
Hmm.
that is the big problem there, right?
Yeah.
Like even our data is a something to consume. Like we are like literally people pay so much money for that data to build consumables based off these ideas and segmentations that they create off this data to put us in these nice boxes so that we will continue to purchase these things that fit within our boxes. Is a whole mess on capitalism, consumption, and a lot of other stuff. But yeah, yeah, everything will always be taken to money. Everybody wants to make money, and so yeah, people will abuse the crap out of it. But there's also a lot of
Yeah.
good that can be done with it. You know,
Yeah.
medical use cases, and just like
Surely. Yeah.
focusing and like bettering your life, education, like all kind of stuff could probably be useful. But yeah, it's
Hmm.
definitely gonna get woof, you know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And happy holidays. Yeah,
Hey, yes,
yeah.
that too.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you're right. You could do ridiculously targeted ads. But you could also control fingers you no longer have that are prosthetic because you can read the brain waves, right? Like both of those things come from it, and that's what sucks to me. That is what really gets
That's
me.
like there's like a cost,
Yeah.
like a social cost to some of these technologies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really wild. Like the Neurosity headset, like I have one actually. I can't wear it while I'm wearing my headphones. We should do like a launch pad where we build an app for it. That'd be really cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. I'm
yeah.
checking out Ross.
I forget what the device is called. It's
Hold
not called Neurosity. That's a company. The device is called like a Nero
Whoa.
or something.
They have a Notion too.
Notion. That's it. The Notion. Oh, they're on V2 now.
What the? So what does it do
It
exactly?
literally measures your brain waves, and it does two things. One is you can do things with the insights gained off of it, the data, and the other is it can, if you can train it. There's a model, a machine learning model that you can train. So when you think about something like flicking your finger up, you can convert that through a JavaScript API to an action. To scroll your page,
Oh my
to
goodness.
swipe an app, to close something, to do like, so I could do like this and like close the currently focused app. Like, I mean, it's like Minority Reporty type stuff, but that's what it is. Like you think about doing something and it will learn that thought.
Oh man.
Yeah. Now add it to like VR, right? Like where instead of having to recognize the hands
wow.
from the outside and have the finite control of visually seeing what the hands are doing, you could instead interpret brainwaves, which would also work for people with disabilities because it's the same brainwave to mimic snapping, whether your hand actually does it or not, which is interesting. It's the same things firing off.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Yeah, I love it.
Right.
Hey, Mr. Or MS Freak M. I don't want to. Yeah, so question in the chat about dev tools. So like broken as far as what, like yes, V3 of dev tools is being worked on, but I need more specific to go off of than that. Yeah, there are definitely known issues that are being addressed, and there's a V3 coming hot around the corner. I think Hugh just tweeted about this, and Jen did not too long ago. So Jen Crichton is the one who is really spearheading this movement, and that is, oops, I'm not typing in chat. I thought I was. Girl Code on Twitter. But yeah, it's being worked on, and there's good stuff coming down the pipeline for there. I imagine you're talking about like needing to refresh the window sometimes if you make changes. Or the cache might not show as the most recent version like fully updated. You have to reload the window. If that is your issue, yeah, that will be addressed. If it's anything else, I don't know what you're referring to. Yes, is not accurate. Yeah, I need to refresh. Yep. Yeah, that's being fixed. That is a known issue. We are aware and we are working on it. So yeah, stay tuned for V3, follow Girl Code, and you should be kept up to date. Yeah, heck yeah, love it.
With that and talking about brainwaves and stuff, shall we get on to the next topic in
Oh yeah, good idea.
GraphQL?
Yeah, because we are coming up hot on time here. We really went off the rails here. So let me do this next one. Let me.
Okay, we'll speed through.
Yeah. We'll get through them. This one is just really cool because it involves our own Trevor Blades.
Kind of.
It does.
This is
it involves you. Your name is in it.
Well, so here's the genesis of this link. I saw like an announcement post that a team called WonderGraph had released their own GraphQL IDE, and this is it. It's WonderGraph Hopper. You can run queries. It's all good.
It's all gravy.
Yeah, it's actually kind of similar to Studio works, like in that you can run multiple. You can write multiple operations, run one at a time. It's it's a nice simple looking IDE. But if we remove the Hopper subdomain from the URL, and you go to wondergraph.com, and I was like, okay, what is Wondergraph? They solve integrations, auth, caching, type-safe clients, and you focus on what's important to your business. Okay, cool enough, but I want to know more. So I clicked Getting Started, or I clicked Get Started, and then impatiently, I was just like, yeah, whatever. Go to installation, and yeah, whatever, some Docker stuff. And then I went to data sources, and then
lo and behold,
I was like, what the heck is going on? What do you mean create a source named Trevor Blades? Like, that's me. What? How did you personalize it to me? Like, what how do you know? But it turns out they're just using, in their example, they use my country's API, and they call the service Trevor Blades. So as a result, you in like the next step, there's like all these steps, like in the applications step, they give you your series of things that you have to do, and one of them is select your data source you wish to attach it to. Select the data source you wish to attach to Trevor Blades. It's like, okay, now I'm getting data sources attached to me, and so what's next?
What is next? Well, we're just trying to make the world one graph, and you are just part of that graph now. And
one day the world will be one Trevor Blades.
That's it. One day you will be assimilated.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how you when you finally succeeded in life.
When people start naming their graphs after you.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty.
It's hilarious. Yeah, so that is why it's here. But although they did release like a GraphQL editor, so check that out.
Yeah. No, in all seriousness, shout out to Wondergraph. Congrats on releasing Hopper, and good luck in developing it.
Oh yeah.
Looks nice and nice minimalistic GraphQL ID, and we'll be keeping our eye out.
Hell yeah. And for all those who don't know, Kyle is in the chat. So Kyle works at StockX and does a lot of stuff with GraphQL there across like Federation and just GraphQL in general. Very knowledgeable person, front and back end stuff. So he's going to be streaming tonight some GraphQL stuff. So I feel like that qualifies for the show. Yeah. So he's going to be streaming every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, so check him out. Yes, he gives out really bad advice as well. That's perfect. So let's see if I can get your page to open up here. Oh, that is not what I wanted. Twitch.
You can just click on Kyle's name and hit the follow button, and you'll get a notification when he goes live.
Yeah, exactly. I did. I wanted to bring it up on site. No, see, this is chat.
Oh yeah.
This is not what I want. I want his page. There we go. I clicked the wrong button, y'all.
And Kyle, is it when you say WoW graph? Do you mean you're making like a World of Warcraft graph, or a graph, some other use of WoW?
I think it's a WoW graph for real.
See.
Yeah, there we go. Boom. Yeah, so I just followed you from Apollo. I'll follow you from my own later if I'm not already. I think I am. But yeah, long story short, I'm going to be there. I will definitely tune in. Thank you for keeping us posted. So mark your calendars, folks. Mark your calendars. Every Monday, 7 p.m. EST, coming at you hot. All right, cool.
Damn. Great endorsement.
Yeah, right. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, definitely keep hacking on that, and we'll tune in. And I am so looking forward to my really bad advice. All right, so let me copy this link address. We're really coming up on time. Actually, we're doing good. This is perfect. Yeah. All right, so let me flip us back over to this, and let me drop this in the chat. So what's going on here? This is an old blog post that's got kind of a little bit of new face. So oftentimes content just disappears into the ether and we lose track of it. But this is a really good article on why you might pick GraphQL instead of REST. And it's almost 3 years old. But Khalil has gone in. He's added some touch-ups to it to bring it a little bit more to modern times and talk about things that might have changed over the last few years. You definitely want to read this if you're in one of those situations where you're like, REST, GraphQL, what even are they or what do they do? It gets more confusing. The whole time we've been talking about GraphQL for querying databases. What does that mean? Like, this is going to really help distill, like, what is the difference between these two things and how can I know when I should use which? Boom.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's really awesome, and this is like a good pattern that is starting to emerge on our team is taking old posts that were super have been relevant for a long time and just like bringing them up to the present day.
Yep.
It's kind of like we're tending to our digital garden in a way, you know?
Absolutely.
Rather than sinking a ton of time and resources into writing new posts on the similar subjects, you can just take existing pieces of knowledge and just giving them a little bit of love, and now he's breathed new life into it, and I really like that.
Yeah, I love it too, because like it's very useful information. And it's like interesting because we don't really talk a lot about like the observability features in Apollo Studio. But those are really great and valuable features for a lot of people. But there's been so much awesome stuff that's just been like released on top of it that it just gets looked at, like not through like a very critical lens anymore. And there's a lot of content there that I'll be working on refreshing as well, because the folks need to know that, not only is it super important to have observability in your API, but like what that entails and where you can get it. So yeah, so look forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm dropping another link in chat here just for everyone while we're speaking about new GraphQL IDEs. I want to talk about Apollo Studio's GraphQL IDE, Explore. So this is Explore has been around for folks using Studio since about like June-ish or July, since the summertime. Explore is, well, like we said, a GraphQL IDE. I'm trying to get down to a picture of it. Here we go. So it's a GraphQL IDE with a lot of features focused around, one, making your graph more explorable, and two, making your data more accessible. So it's definitely a lot of the features you'll see geared towards those two goals. But yeah, so taking this a step further, it was really at first being used for folks who already have graphs that are set up in like CI/CD. They've existed, they're managing their graph in the Apollo registry, so they have like a change log of their graph. They're able to track, everything that's going on with that. But the problem is that that's only part of like a graph's lifecycle. Like, really, I want to be able to explore and work with my graph, like from ideation to the point where it actually needs to be deployed somewhere. And we didn't have an answer for folks who were in that situation. Like, I just spin up a GraphQL API and I want to start interacting with it. What do I use? Well, you would use like Graphql or Playground, but we wanted to take a lot of these awesome features of Explore and make it available to folks in this stage. So that's how DevGraphs came to life. And DevGraph stands for a development graph. And what you do is you point Studio at your local host, and it will use introspection on your schema to constantly load that into Explore, so you can get all the awesome benefits of using Explore, like drilling down deep into your API, adding the queries, intelligent search, like there's like basically like an Alfred or Spotlight type search, extracting and inlining variables, and like a whole bunch of other stuff like inline tracing of your queries. So actually, when we look at that Netflix blog post, and they've built out all this observability for tracing, if you're using Apollo server and tracing is on, right inside of Explorer, you can get line for line tracing of your queries before you've even pushed them anywhere. So it's really cool. And why would I need that on my local host? Well, you're still talking to databases. You might still be talking to third-party APIs, and you might need to know how long these responses are going to take even on your local development, right? Like, development server. You might identify places where you need cache. You might need to test authorization, right? Like, there's a whole bunch of reasons you would need this. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's the spiel, yo. So go check it out. You can check that out either through this blog post or just go right to studio apollographql.com/dev, and that will get you to the same place.
Also, another reason why you might like want to use Studio over, or rather like the Explorer over Playground or Graphical, is subscriptions. If you're building
Yes,
a graph that uses subscriptions, you're not going to be able to test them um, with other tools.
for sure.
Explorer works with subscriptions right out of the box. You can just write a subscription query, and you can see um, you can see the status of that subscription get updated as new data becomes available. That's something when we were building Jamspan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge time saver. And honestly, talking about subscriptions, this is just something in general that's notoriously hard to debug. You can also use Explorer pointing at your production GraphQL server and monitor subscriptions and see what's going on with them in real time as well. So it's like from
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea, this is a graph that is going to exist, to this is my graph that is running in production and I need deep insight and the ability to triage and debug this API quickly. Bam. Explorer's got you covered.
Got it all.
So, got it all. Yeah, one-stop shop. Come and check it out. And with that, y'all,
That's right.
that's it. That's all we've got for today. If you got any last-minute things you want to drop in chat, other than go follow Kyle and check out his stream tonight, then yeah, hit us with it. Otherwise, I think we're gonna get out of here, right? We're gonna hit the road. Boom.
Let's do it. Yeah, before we go, let me just prowl the web dev world and see if anybody else is currently on that we can send you guys to.
Yeah. And while you do that, I want to talk about our upcoming stream schedule. So we will be streaming Launchpad this Thursday. Following that, we're going to be on a hiatus until the start of the new year, but then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled streams starting the first week of January. And we've also got a lot of cool episodes already lined up of mission briefing, hoping that y'all come and check it out. And Kyle wants to know if we're going to go to the duck stream. I mean, I'm not opposed, like, honestly.
The duck stream.
Yeah, it's just ducks, cute ducks.
I think I found a fellow web developer working on an Electron JavaScript and Twitch API app.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, let's do that.
Seems right up our alley. So we'll.
Yeah, but
we'll
Dash Ducks.
Maybe
next
Dash
time
Ducks.
we'll do Dash Ducks.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for looking out, Kyle.
Cool, yeah, and I guess we're good to go, right? With that, we're ready to hit the road.
That is it. All right, guys.
Cool.
Take care.
Yeah, take care. We'll see some of y'all Thursday, and if not, we'll see you in the new year, yo.
All right. Peace out.